Yeah, and my kid comes to the other day and goes, hey, Dad, look, I drew this NFT. I said, what? Do you know what an NFT is? He says, no. But I drew one. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, right on. So, and I mean, like, so, you know, kids are talking about it. They might not understand it yet, but everybody's talking about it. So that means that people's parents are talking about it and this and that. Everyone's talking about, you know what I mean? They're sitting down for Sunday dinners or whatever the case may be. And they're talking about crypto.
Biggs and Boggs.
This guy walks up. He's like, what are you doing here? It's like just this guy that looks like him.
That's Boggs.
Oh, man. So bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your future Hamlet Biggs and Boggs. I'm Marty Boggs.
And I'm Julian Biggs.
And we got Spencer on sound and screens. Thanks for joining us today, folks. We got a really good one for you, so stick around. If you're new, subscribe. If you're not, like and comment and let us know what's going on. Let's get right into it. What are we up to today and how can we plan for tomorrow? Julian.
Today, we're going to talk about the media starting to push crypto, starting to see it a little more here and there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at oil and gas prices as well today because I know everybody's been thinking about that too. They want to know what's going on. So you can go look at the oil chart. We're going to get into it with a little bit of a market scope now.
Markets go.
So right now we are looking at the Bitcoin versus US dollar chart on the daily time frame. I've had these circles drawn since the last episode we filmed these three lows here, not quite hitting this third low. So 1, 2, and I've drawn this third circle at the bottom of this pattern I've had drawn since December actually, and I believe we still have the potential to come a little bit lower, but right now we're looking pretty good. We have broken above the 20 and the 50 at the bottom of this line I drew right in the apex of this triangle that we've been watching for some time. It's kind of funny that it came right to that, and we've now broken above that. So I believe that we're going to see a move to 44.4, 44.8 possibly this week. We are getting the retest above the 50-day moving average here. So the potential of hitting that 44 to 44.8 is good and strong now, but I don't think a new low is off the table. Global economic uncertainty, a lot of things happening. I mean, right now we are still kind of at a lower high, so we do have that potential to make a move down. But I think we're going to retest the 200-day moving average around 44.5 to 50 or $45,000 there. So, you know, that's what I'm looking for. I personally, I'm still a little skeptical of this being the breakout, but I think this could be the start of the accumulation phase, and we'll actually start to see, you know, some more steady movement to the upside if this is the accumulation phase. But it still could be a little rocky for the next couple of months.
Oh, if you go sideways for a little bit, that's okay too, right? Dollar cost averaging.
Right.
Doing that sort of thing, so there's a bit of time to continue to do so.
100%.
And you know what? If we drop down, go a little bit lower, well, like you said, it's expected at this point.
Right.
It doesn't just go straight back up.
You know, it's not going to go...
Interest rate hikes.
Yeah.
Right?
So we obviously want to talk about that. There was interest rate hikes. So basically on debt financing. So we know that the wealthy people, they accumulate their wealth through debt financing essentially. So they can borrow fiat currencies at a low interest rate and invest into assets that produce more,
appreciate
more,
more than the interest rate,
than their interest rate of their debt, right? So,
so that's coming to a close.
You know, so we're seeing that. Oh, it was 25 basis points. I think it went up.
Yeah. So everything's been at almost zero.
But we
lately,
will.
So they've been making tons of money.
I believe we will see more
or they've been
inflation.
borrowing tons of money.
We will see more inflation. Though this year will continue as well, so you know it's going to balance out.
Don't burp. But so they've been spending the last 2 years while interest rates are low, accumulating.
Yes.
And now, as interest rates go up, they will invest. Theoretically.
Well, they right now. So yes, 100%. But I believe now
we could see money put into a bunch of different things because they're not gonna be borrowing any more money, right? They spent the last 2 years borrowing money.
Yes, but they continue to borrow money to buy,
of course.
Well, revenue producing assets. So, you know, I believe that inflation is going to continue with this, regardless of these rate hikes. They're going to continue with inflation just based on what's going on in the global economy to stay afloat here. So I think that we'll still see kind of a good run on our assets this year, but it could be a little slower than we saw at the end of last year.
Check out oil.
So if we look at the oil chart, and obviously, a lot of us, we don't really think to look at the oil chart or think that, a lot is going on with this, but we are seeing our gas prices go up and down, and we're seeing all these memes and e-cards about gas and, you know what I mean? Like
Heelys are coming back.
During the pandemic, you weren't allowed to travel 5 miles, and now you can't afford to travel 5 miles. All these things like this. So this is the oil chart, and
wasn't there a shortage just recently too?
Oil? Yeah, oil shortage. That's funny. So, we saw this massive move to the upside. This was right at the start of this war or invasion of Ukraine. And we saw this massive move to the upside, and then, of course, a big crash down. So whoever was holding previous to this made a huge fat profit here. And when it hit that high, just to, 130, I think that was, we obviously saw that big move down. Now we're going to bounce off the 50 here. So I believe we're going to continue to see this as long as this war persists in Ukraine and in Russia, whatever's going on with NATO and Russia here. We're going to continue to see this kind of movement, I think, in the oil prices. So expect your gas to go up and down.
Which is crazy because just zoom out a little bit and look at the volatility that's just happened since then. Like, obviously, if you get it's going nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's going on with oil? And this is the most volatile it's been in a long time. Like the extreme volatility that we had in such a short period of time is not normal. Like even these big down moves, right? They take some time.
Yeah.
And right now we're seeing big volatility in this market.
So money's coming in. Money's coming in, obviously. But what do we see in the future now? Right. So what do we see tomorrow? Because obviously, like we were going to talk about, the media is starting to push crypto.
So the media is pushing crypto.
We're starting to see it everywhere.
You're starting to see it everywhere. You're starting to see ads. You're starting to see this, starting to see that. If you're on Twitter, you're definitely seeing crypto
we know how
ads
things
more
go.
and more.
As soon as it's in the media.
Even on Instagram, I'm starting to see, I was away from Instagram for such a long time, but I'm back now, and I'm seeing that even some people that I followed before who had nothing to do with crypto are into crypto.
Dude, so funny. Get this. I was watching Carson play Hangman on her iPhone 5 or whatever. That's my grandma's old phone that she can just mess around with games on, and it doesn't even have Wi-Fi or data or anything, but somehow a crypto.com ad popped up while she was playing.
Right. And so my kid the other day comes to me and goes, "Hey Dad, I drew an NFT."
The funny thing was that she goes, "Hey Paul, look, Bitcoin." I'm like, yeah, good eye.
Hey, wow, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And my kid comes to me the other day and goes, "Hey Dad, look, I drew this NFT." I said, "What? Do you know what an NFT is?" He says, "No. But I drew one." I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, right on. So, and I mean, kids are talking about it. They might not understand it yet, but everybody's talking about it. So that means that people's parents are talking about it and this and that. Everyone's talking about, what I mean? They're sitting down for Sunday dinners or whatever the case may be, and they're talking about crypto. So crypto is here to stay. We know that now. The fact
Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and the reason it's not going anywhere is because it's the system that it uses. It's not people are like, I don't know about Bitcoin. Well, if you don't know about Bitcoin, that's fair, but the blockchain technology that it's all built off of, that's what's moving in for the kill.
So there's a guy, he just set out to travel, and I should have probably pulled this up, but you just sparked this thought. But he's going on this travel mission, and he's going to hit 40 countries in 400 days using only Bitcoin, right? And this is something too. It's just Bitcoin. What is it? What can we do with it? What's its real value? Because it really just it doesn't have any solid intrinsic value, but it continues to go up in price. So if we dollar cost average, that our value is going to go up. But now there's this guy. He's going to travel 40 countries in 400 days. And the idea is he's going to only use Bitcoin. So tell me a currency that you can use where you can travel the world
with one currency
and just do whatever you want in any country and be able to use the one value system and travel everywhere and do whatever you want with it, right?
So all of his followers are buying Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is the only thing that you can do that with. I mean, whatever. So cryptocurrencies in general do the same thing. It's a value storage that you can take anywhere and transfer into any currency.
Like a one world currency, one world order threat.
Oh,
What do you think about that?
A one world order threat,
Yeah,
maybe.
because a little statistically speaking, it is kind of like it fits,
Right.
but.
So what do you mean a threat to?
I've
I've
had people ask me about that. I've had that.
A threat to the current monetary
just,
system?
Just the whole one world order threat. Of like, oh, that's just you getting, you're buying into the one world order, man. Well, like, obviously, like,
I'm gonna lose my mind here. and if anybody who's saying that clearly doesn't understand Bitcoin and why it was implemented and what it's really come around for, and if you know what I mean, and I don't want to shit on this person that thinks like that, because what it is a misunderstanding. Cognitive dissonance. 100% it's cognitive dissonance, because what we don't understand, we're gonna naturally fear and push away from, and we are gonna naturally just it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
If you're firm in one belief and you go looking for information, you're going to go looking for information that supports your belief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're going to strengthen that belief, because that's the information that you're going to go looking for.
And you can probably find it.
100%, because there's always going to be people with opposing opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but we need to really understand Bitcoin, why it came around, and what it's actually doing, and its threat is to the monetary system that we know now, and we can already see
it promotes individualism.
We can already see the wealth transferring into Bitcoin, and it wouldn't be sitting at $40,000 today if that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be the money that there is in this asset class.
It's pretty cool,
right? So last year, crypto as a whole hit a value of $3 trillion. Okay, Microsoft is worth $3 trillion something, I think. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should pull that up and have a look. But that's you know what I mean? Anything that's reached that level of value is not going to be ignored. No. There's money to be made, and the people who hold their money in Microsoft and Apple and stocks and even the rebel market in Russia, you know what I mean? They're going to see that value in crypto and the wealth. We're watching it transfer into crypto.
People are diving in. Big money's diving in. If you look at the days we've had, look at these big green candles. We've had some massive buys coming in. Yeah, if we get the chart going again, this volatility, that's one thing I wanted to point out. So we've got these lows here, and I do believe we're going to put in this third low. If we don't, fantastic. If we do, fantastic, because I'm going to buy either way. It doesn't matter to me. Mm-hmm. But this volatility that we've seen from the bottom, I don't think it should be that extreme. I think, this move here was looking good, and making this slow kind of equity style growth is what I'd like to see. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If we dollar cost average into an equity style growth, it's going to be highly profitable. But when people see this mass volatility and these moves like this, that's when they get scared, they panic sell, and they jump out of markets, right? But if you did you watch that analysis thing I put in the chat, the Telegram chat? Weird.
Did you understand what that was?
Well, sort of, yeah. But
okay, so and I wonder if I could show that on here.
Yeah, just you're still screen recording. Just I can.
Should I pull up Telegram? Can I show that?
Yeah.
So what this is, and Michael Saylor is he's just a beauty, and the things that he shares on Twitter are amazing. And he's a Bitcoin maximalist, and I think it's fantastic, because I think he's right, and he's just a really intelligent guy. So where did I put that? Your Future Hand?
Was it big symbol? I think it was Your Future Hand.
Yeah, so Your Future Hand. So this, can we get this full screen? Yeah. So this shows an analysis basically of Bitcoin daily DCA and HODL, right? So if you buy Bitcoin every day, it doesn't matter what the amount is. If you bought Bitcoin every day, this is what it would look like. And it spans to, let's just watch the end of it here. It's 960. Oh, no, it's going further. It goes to 1,096 days. So if you're buying Bitcoin every day, and I would only honestly suggest like once a week. I would get down to once a week, because even once every 2 weeks or every 2 months is probably a little too spread out for the way this market fluctuates. But daily you're going to pay a lot in fees. So if you're someone with a lower budget, like Michael Saylor's got billions of dollars, so we're not going to worry about his budget. But if you're someone with a smaller budget, once a week I think is normal, and you're going to be able to ride these out. But this was an analysis of 1,096 days buying every day, and you can buy and have some of these purchases end up in the red. Mm-hmm. But you can see that over time, the total profits of that was about 90, I think it was 90 something %. Mm-hmm. at the end of that. So dollar cost averaging, and a guy
I
like
see. So all those spots that bought were in the green after a minimum.
of that many days. So you see that
Yeah.
analysis. We can run through it again. You can see that some purchases are made in the red, right? And you do have a negative return coming in on some of those. But at the end of that, if we can pause it near the end of this, we can see how many of our purchases had a positive return and how many of our purchases had a negative return. And it's really cool that somebody's going to actually make this kind of analysis. So there you go. We actually pause that right at the end, 1,096 days. Right. So the period's analyzed, and then the percentage of growth over this period. So we're talking 3 years, not even, with 100% return. Right.
Yeah.
So if we dollar cost average into Bitcoin, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. But if we keep that long-term goal in mind, and I'm not going to be selling any of this for 5 years, and, maybe in 5 years, I'm at a point where I'm comfortable enough that, I can probably take some Bitcoin to pay some of my expenses and do some of my things, but I'm still accumulating my Bitcoin because now I know I'm really seeing its value. Okay. So we've done that for 5 years. Now it's 10 years later, it's 2030. And for me, by the time we hit 2030, there's probably not going to be a need to sell your Bitcoin because most fiat currencies would have failed, with the potential of a digital US dollar,
which is based
yen, and certain things, Canadian dollar, there's maybe a few fiat currencies that have transferred into digital currencies that are still kind of remaining around.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt in my mind that Bitcoin is going to be at the top of this.
Things are not going to stay the same as they
class.
are right now. Let's just say that.
Well, they can't.
If you have no idea like where we're going to be tomorrow, and you really want to know what's going to go on with your future hand, it's not going to be the same as it is right now. Things are changing. Things are changing fast, and everything's changing to digital. This is where we're going.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter because the majority has spoken.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
the
you
technology
believe
is
it or
there.
not.
Yeah, it's going.
It is going.
That's where we're going.
It is going. And you can wait. You can either buy into Bitcoin now and be holding some real value in a few years when everything else goes digital, or you can remain in the value system that you have now, which is decreasing every year at an even more dramatic rate.
Hyperinflation.
And then you can just be holding that digital US dollar or Canadian dollar or whatever it may be at that time and going, fuck, man, now Bitcoin's worth 300,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
but if you're watching this right now and you're not in crypto, now is the time to get into crypto.
Yeah. And maybe
you can even put it in US dollar or UST, a stable coin that fluctuates the same as the dollar. And you won't be susceptible to the volatility of Bitcoin or all the other ones like that, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, come on, man. You only have one life. Buy some Bitcoin. Let it ride, bro.
Yeah.
Let it ride, dude. It's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. And honestly, you can either believe in something like Bitcoin that was designed for people, by the people, to really give us all value and all a democratic environment that we all.
It was a
involve ourselves
solution.
in.
It was a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't say, "Oh no, I don't understand that." That's not right. It was a direct solution to a direct problem.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be continuing to move forward as a race to not perish. So take the steps. If we're moving in the right direction, if there's something that somebody comes up with that is clearly a step in the right direction, go with that guy.
Yeah.
And don't go with the other guy that's like leading you off the hill. Hey, look at this. The view is great over here.
Yeah.
No bridge though.
No,
right
bridge,
into the valley.
Yeah, it's like, man, we should get that gif from Simpsons up here. I love that Simpsons episode with the escalator to nowhere. It's like, this is great. You know, sunny skies is
look at this.
and they all go off the end, right? Like, so anyway, we're going to come back to you more. I think we should do some videos. I know we've talked about Anchor Protocol and UST, but that is something that I really think people should be looking at. And that is where we're going to take, even possibly value from Bitcoin when we're in euphoric states in the market. You know what I mean? We can really use that fear and greed index to indicate these times too. When we're in really low into the fear index, we buy, and we're really high into the euphoric area, the neutral to the green area, the greed, we want to sell. And we want to move that value to UST where it pays 20%.
Yeah,
right? UST And Terra Luna, the way it's designed to create the supply of UST as they burn Luna too. So I think we should do an episode on that. But if you haven't...
Deflationary.
If you haven't
assets.
already, we've talked about it a couple times. Look at UST, look at Anchor Protocol. You can get these things through Binance or KuCoin. I recommend that you're not just on Coinbase. Get over to Binance or KuCoin, somewhere that you can transfer your value around, diversify, get it into UST. You'll need that a couple different wallets.
Yeah, you gotta start getting into it.
You need a couple different wallets. Terra Station and the Anchor Protocol. So maybe we'll do a tutorial on that. I think we should actually, and just show you where you can store some value when the markets are really unsure like this in a place that's still going to get your return and not lose any value.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, subscribe if you want to get on that. And other than that, I think Biggs and Boggs out.
Biggs and Boggs out.
Peace.
20 minutes.
Biggs and Boggs.